cut this loom open, and here's my poop brown yellow wire, and it splices. That's a factory splice. That was. We're gonna turn this cross track into a part 2. So let's recap on part 1. So on part 1, we found that we had no rear view camera, and I helped my technician solve the problems by doing a basic 24 point. I told him that your reverse lights were not on, so we should find that circuit, check it. We found the fuse for it. We checked the fuse was blown. Everything works, customer's happy. Customer gets down the road, comes back and says, hey, I was just at the grocery mart, my rear view camera doesn't work anymore. Comes back, we look at the fuse is blown. So we say, okay, you gotta leave it with us. We're gonna look at it again, and we're gonna take a closer look at it, because obviously we gotta find out what's causing this to short out, because it was just a snap fuse. It wasn't one of those like hot melts. So let's go over some of the equipment that we were using. This is my favorite tool that I like using when working with fuses that are blowing really fast. It's the Fuse Buddy, sold by Matco, SB230. I've had this thing for about 10 years. Love it. You can find it on the Jungle site for like 50-60 bucks, I think. And I think I got it on a flyer for $100. Setting up our short buddy is actually really easy. When you apply power from the battery, it will immediately ask you to select which type of fuse you want to work on. You got the selector button. My 30 amp light is burnt out, but I know it's on 30 because nothing's lit up. I want 10, I press and hold for 10, and there it goes. Okay, that just means it's just doing its thing. It's good. If you got to reset the condition, you just got to unplug the tool and plug it back in. You get a couple of adapters that plug into the top for your fuses. We're using the mini one, and then you stab in your desired fuse right there. And we just tuck it up into the fuse that is blowing. Doo-doo-doo, like that. Okay, so now when you're working on something and you short it out, this thing's gonna go doo-doo-doo-doo. Let me see if I can just short it out. The other ones are nice and smudgy. So we're working with the power distribution sheet right here. This is a push start. This is the fuse that I'm working on in the cabin fuse box. Subaru calls it the FB. So we're in the FB panel, number 18. Come down here. It says that supplies power to FB35. So come down here to FB35. And it says that fuse supplies power to the inhibitor switch, which is on the transmission, the backup light switch, and the auto headlight beam leveler control module. All right, so those are the 3 things I got to look at. Backup light switch is the least complicated one to work with, and I can also see that it is working with my inhibitor, so getting a 2 for 1. And this vehicle is not equipped with the headlight leveler system, so it looks like we're win-win-win. Again, trace out what I'm going to be working on, and let's go. Now, this is a easy problem to solve for me, because this circuit is blowing the fuse every time the vehicle goes into reverse. Super. So I know how to set the condition. All I got to do now is hook up my special tools to solve the problem. The one tool that I love using whenever I have these conditions is my power probe. Come here, you. I love using my power probe short finder. Where's the box? It's not here. Aha. I love using the power probe short and open circuit tracer. Okay. Very beautiful. Comes in a good blow foam to protect it. Just make sure you take the damn batteries out. Otherwise, well, batteries like to explode. So you get a lot of fun connectors. You get some wire piercer stuff. You get some of these. And power probe actually does make really, really, really good probes for the front end connectors if you got a front probe. So again, you hook this one up to the battery, it turns on, it's gonna go beep and a boop. And you plug it into the circuit that you want to trace. And what you can also do is comes with a little magic wand. Okay. The magic wand picks up the signal that this puts out. So you plug this into the circuit that you want, and then you can follow the wire along. Just be really careful though, and know the circuit that you're putting into. All right, so what I'm going to mean by that is, if you plug that into a circuit that is all over the place, okay, like it just branches off into 4 different places, well, it's really going to bog down your signal, because your signal has to go out to all those different runs. You have to think ahead of the tool and isolate those components to better utilize the magic wand. Okay, I hope that makes sense. All right, it's kind of like this is kind of like ohm checking. You got to isolate your circuits. I'm not telling you have to disconnect batteries or anything like that, but again, if we're plugging in over there and that wire goes here and it goes, if you plug in over there and the wire comes over here and it splits off and it goes up front and it splits off and it goes back, if you can find a way to kind of maybe just take down half that circuit, this tool's going to work a lot better. I don't really have to worry about that too much working on these Subarus because we have simple wiring systems, but when I've worked on more complex wiring systems, like some top tier Fords, or I worked on a Lariat, I had to do that. I had to unplug a bulkhead harness just so that the signal could be picked up better by the wand. And there was a Mercedes too. Same thing. I just had to split the circuit so this guy could work better. When you're working on old cars or campers or RVs, you don't got to worry about that stuff. And those are 2 wire systems. So let's look at this. Best way when you have one of these shorts to ground, and that's important to note, label, we have to determine, do we have a short to power or short to ground? Well, FB fuse is supplying battery voltage. Obviously, this wire trace somewhere in the circuit is going to ground before it hits one of its loads, and that's what's causing this pop. Now, this fuse only pops when the inhibitor switch switches to reverse. Okay? So that means that I can ignore all of this. Just on that, from sitting in the driver's seat, I know everything here is good. So I can check that off as good. That means I need to focus on my inhibitor switch to see if I have an internal short to ground. And I would work on my traces back here to see if anything here is shorted to ground. This is where my short finder really does help out a lot. Because what I'm going to do now is I'm unplugging the fuse. I'm going to plug it into the fuse box. And I'm going to put the car in reverse. When I put the car in reverse, it's going to detect the short to ground. And it's going to go beep. and it's gonna stay that way. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find these easy access connectors, and I'm just gonna unplug the connectors until the noise goes away. It's great. I don't have to ohm check anything. I don't have to be wire piercing anything. We're gonna treat this like a basic CAN bus problem. We're just gonna start unplugging stuff until the damn noise goes away. First thing we wanna do is wanna use our test light. Hook it up to a known good ground. I always like these door jams. And we need to find the power side of this. And this is a cabin fuse box. So we're gonna need to put our car in accessory mode. So this is the one we're working with. Get you in frame, get you in frame. Okay. Power, no power. So it means this is coming from the battery. Get you focus. Let's get you all in frame. Okay. So we're probing the top, that's B+. Probing the bottom, ain't nothing there. That's where we want to plug in our tool. Oh my gosh, this car's gonna wail. You're gonna hear a bunch of noises. All right, so let's plug in our friend right now. And I think I have him muted. Oh yeah, he's pissed. This car wants me to shut the damn door is what it wants me to do. Let me fix this. Okay, we're gonna switch to a wide angle lens. Okay, so we got our tool plugged in. We're gonna go to the distribution side of that fuse, okay? There's no point in plugging into the power side. We wanna check where the power is going. And let's get her in reverse. Okay, that wailing sound that says, hey, you got a short. Okay, that's great. I can listen to that all day. So let's get our schematic and let's go back over. Okay, this is the line that we're juicing, and our first connector here is B12, which connects to T3. The B stands for body or bulkhead, depending on what you're working on, and T is always transmission. What I really like about these Subaru schematics is they have a reference of the plugs down here for quick reference. So let's see here, we're looking T3 or B12. Okay, there's B12 right there. And it says we got a dark gray. Let's decode our connection up here. B12, pin 13. Right there, 13. GL. All right, so wire code for Subaru. G is green, L means blue. So I'm really familiar with T3 and T4 on these cars. Okay, that's T3 and that's T4. So I know that that has to be my bulkhead connector. And right over here, okay, that's my green with a blue stripe right there in the corner. So, again, let's reiterate. I can hear the noise from the box. And now I want to unplug that connector. See if it'll do it one-handed. I've been working on my one-hand skills. Come on, you. Okay, unplugged. The wailing stopped. What does that mean? Well, that's what this means. If I unplug this, then all that's good. When I plug it in, it gets angry again. So now I have to test my inhibitor switch. I'm a lazy guy. I don't want to put the car in a lift. I want to keep it on the ground. And I don't want to go underneath the car. It's dirty. No. You see where I'm going? So let's study our schematic. Look again. There's T3. This is the signal's coming in. It's going to the inhibitor switch on the transmission harness. And it's going to get spit right back out to pin 14 on the same plug. What am I getting at? I'm saying that I can jumper those two together. If the whale continues, then I know that the problem is, again, downstream here, and I don't have to worry about troubleshooting that inhibitor switch. Because remember, it only happens in reverse. So, let's get my paperclip of death. Woo! This is not going to happen one-handed. Okay, so we have Mr. Clippy in here right now. And let's go see if we got tone. We have tone. Great, okay. We got to keep going downstream on this circuit. So we got these two jumpers. We can ignore our inhibitor switch. Next one here, we got B97 to R1. Let's look at our cheat sheet. Okay, there's a B9 or 7. It's a 20-pin connector. Sweet. I already know that's at. I looked at another diagram. It gave me a 3D model of the wiring harness in the vehicle. It's a feature that OEM, that's an advantage of using our OEM system. You don't really get that with Schottky or Mitchell. So it tells me to come over here. It says, this guy right here is my friend. Bad light, bad light. Okay, and we were chasing the brown with the yellow trace, and I see there's my brown with the yellow trace. The pin matches up. Hills, yeah. So let's plug it. Okay. All right. So now I got my light thing straightened out. Sorry for that. Okay. So we got my connector here, and there's my poop brown with the yellow trace. Happy. Let's get the magic wand. All right. We're gonna mute you. I hear you. I hear you. I'm muting you. It's muted. It's late. Let's get through this. Okay, so busting out the magic wand here. I got tone. Oh, too much zoom. Unenhance. There we go. Let me more unenhance. Aha, this looks better. Okay, so I pulled out the blower motor to see what's going on, because the loom comes from the bulkhead in the engine bay that's behind the evaporator core. I can see the majority of it right here behind the blower box, and then this is my plug here with the brown yellow stripe. This is where I suspected that the problem was. There was a wire that was just shorted to ground somewhere in here, so I wanted to find it. And this box on the Power Probe kit does come with a bit of a unique feature. It has these arrows that light up that tell you to kind of go left and right. It's supposed to know which way the signal's being pulsed. And again, this is why it's important to do some isolation on your networks, because you don't want signal contamination, because these things can really lead you astray. Take this with a grain of salt, right? It's kind of like Tesla's cruise control with all the auto stop features. You still got to look at the road, you know? So let's get on there. Let's try and do this so you can see the little arrows. So it's telling me I need to go right with this. Going right. Beeps are good. Beeps are good. Oh, I got at low. Now it says, hey, go up. Okay, that's weird. Why does it want me to go up? Because the wire comes down here. Why? Why? I don't understand. And so I did some angry exploratory surgery, and I cut this loom open, and here's my poop brown yellow wire, and it splices. That's a factory splice that was not in our diagram. Very interesting. And it's going up to the A pillar on the passenger side. And my geek box says go that way. Cool. So I take the A pillar off, Because, yeah, keep going, baby. Keep going. Oh, that's just weird. But that's the automotive industry. You know, the engineers, they just don't give you everything. So, of course, we're going to play the game where we unplug this. And we check and see if our tone goes away. Nope. We still got tone. So we can plug it back in. And we know we still got to follow our wire up here. So following it up, I pull down the headliner a little bit. I see that it starts tracking towards the map light assembly. So all right, I pull the map light assembly down. All of a sudden the problem goes away. I don't have a short anymore. Why don't I have a short? And I'm going to take this wire out now. I don't need you. Go away. Okay, so now we're going to talk about what I discovered. So the problem started going away once I started moving this a little bit, and I was like, oh crap, PDR guy, right? I'm thinking the PDR guy pulled this thing down and screwed it up. Well, customer says they've never had PDR work done. This is the auto dimming mirror. This is an accessory that you can purchase as an upgrade on your Subarus. This accessory is installed one of two ways on your vehicle. It is installed at the port, that's what we call it, which is basically just a giant pole barn where they put accessories on cars and then they ship them out to the different dealerships, or the vehicle or the accessories are installed locally at a dealership by a technician. So I looked up the customer history and I looked up the packaging on this vehicle, and I found out that this accessory was installed at the port. This vehicle is a 2015. It has been living with this problem for 7 years, and it is just now developed. Very, very cool, very interesting, and just kind of bad for the customer. So let's follow this wire up here, and this is where it was laying right there. This screw hole, this map light assembly, has bolts, 8mm bolts that go up in there, and this wire was wrapped around there. Now if I can get a good zoom in, you can see the stress that was just right there. And I was actually able to just roll my probe along that wire. That's what I was doing with woo! One-handed, I'm losing okay. So that's what I was doing with this guy right here, is I was just putting this to ground to recreate my problem to walk you guys through this. So I had that on ground, and I was literally just kind of going like this on the wire, and my little box was getting mad. So I was like, wow. It just took 7 years of vehicle vibrations to wear down that plastic. But the wire's fine. I moved it around, I massaged it straight. It's good to go. But this is where you have to read your accessory installs. When you get a box of zip ties that come with your accessory installs, they want you to zip tie this out of the way so that this doesn't happen. That sucks. It just sucks all the way around. I think that's all I got. Any questions? I'm pretty sure that made all sense. Oh, wait, yeah. Let's talk about how I'm angry. I'm angry at how that's spliced. That splice went up to here, and it wasn't anywhere. It wasn't anywhere. And you bet I'm going to be raising hell about this to a couple of people, because that needs to be mentioned on this. That fuse is on this wire, and it should have mentioned, it should have had a little note or something. Do you see a note? No, no, no. Without navigation audio, with navigation unit. I don't see notes on here. I don't see notes. If you see a note, let me know, man. I don't see a note. Here's the rearview mirror. There's our fuse 18. There's our inhibitor switch. There's the rearview mirror connector. Come on, man. There is nothing to tell me to go look at this. But you're gonna run into this. This is automotive. I guarantee you that these wiring diagrams are put together by a team of people, and they troubleshoot them the best that they can to try and make sure that everybody's on the same page. You'll run into this, and this is just where you just get used to anomalies. And if I didn't have that little tool, I guarantee I would have been ripping my hair out, because I would have been stuck in my head like, this is lying to me. So let's go over this thing. It's I bought this years and years ago. I think I've had it now 5, 6, 7 years. Well, no, not 7. I think I've had this for 5 years. I don't take it out a lot to use it because I'm really familiar with problems. I've gotten better and I haven't had to pull this out. But damn, when I have this tool, I am so grateful I have it. So if you catch this on a deal, I think I paid like $350 for it back in the day. About 5 years ago, I think I paid about probably $350, $400 tops. And I bought it on a truck. It was in a flyer catalog. I bet you could pick this up on the Jungle site stupid cheap. Power probe stuff on the Jungle site is stupid cheap. And it's all legit. It ain't knockoff stuff. You're not paying that tool truck markup. But that tool scored a win. You know, it's been good to me. I've been happy. So now I get to put all this mess back together. I'll do that tomorrow. See if I can get this edited and posted tonight for you guys.